Bekomson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Have you on our program today.
Yeah, pleasure is mine.
All right. So we designed this program to give an opportunity for ambitious people to ask questions around different subject matters that obviously will help you to become a better person, achieve more this year and beyond this year. So Reverend Father Bekomson has a PhD in development sociology. He's also the founder of Inspiro. Inspiro is a non-profit. He's also the parish priest of Our Lady of the Catholic Church here in the city of Calabar, across from the state of Nigeria. So, looking at the profile, sir, it's one that makes anybody think. I was remember that I have all the time to go and become a PhD holder and run an NGO, run a parish, effectively command influence beyond Calabar to the national space. So it's going to be a good journey too. So I want to start by saying that you should tell us about yourself and the things you're doing. What makes Father Bekomson so unique that everybody wants him in their events?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I am very excited to be here. And I'm also very excited to speak to younger minds and I would say younger friends like I can see here. Well, that's a very difficult question. Okay. But I think what makes me me is the fact that I am very, very innovative. And that's one of the reasons I came here was because I resonate with the entire name, the Guru Innovation. That's something really good. So I could say I'm very, very innovative. And then my craze and drive to excel in everything I do has made me push further. Not just having the PhD, but over the years, I remember when I was a priest, I was posted to, I worked at the Cameroon border. And that was my first posting. I was still very young then. I'm 16 years old as a Catholic priest. So that was about my first posting. And I was really scared because I was posted right into math. And I would say that posting really shaped me because I had to travel on the bike for about 4 hours to get to look at the first station. I had to say mass. And had to travel again another 2 hours to the next station. And at the end of the day, I had to spend almost 6 hours on the bike going back to where I live. And then, of course, the offertory which came from there was not even enough to take me to those locations. So I had to think of a way to sustain myself and a way to also help the people because it was about climb on the tree. Your phone just to see if you could track some network for you to reach out to your family members. So that for me actually shaped me into being the person I am today because we're able to see how we reach the government, the local government council chairman then, Mr. Dennis Ompiri, who was the chairman of Akamba. We're able to reach out to him and through his friends to see what could be done to the Akan border road because the road leads to the Cameroon, so at Akan. So I would say that really shaped me to be who I am today.
That's super amazing story. Looking at how you were able to use your position not just as a priest but to command development to the local community. I think that is important. That's something that everyone has to understand that we can actually use our position to make a big difference. So looking at your current parish, it's top of the news every Sunday. And, you know, when I look at after service video of how you step out and then you shake everyone, you embrace people, you're not thinking about body odor. I'm like, what exactly is going on? Why are you so compassionate? Why the empathy? Considering that the modern day Christianity or the modern day priests don't do this kind of stuff. What you do is more like not a modern thing. It's something we used to see back in the day. So What gives you empathy? What pushes your empathy towards the parishioners you're leading?
Well, like I said, innovation for me is life. And in my church, in my parish rather, we have as a slogan, when I say OLPH, the rest of it is making family out of strangers. So the story which we share, or the commodity which we try to sell, is once you come to church, you're welcome, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done. So the church becomes your home, a safe space for everyone to come. And one of the ways to make people feel at home is when you give them a handshake. So I always shake hands as often as possible. I also touch cheeks, especially for children. But the hug, at some point, I was called the hugging priest because I was always hugging people, and there was quite a lot of criticism. Some people were like, after you get introduced to these people, you're hugging so many people, and some had the question, oh, why are you hugging only females? Why are you hugging a particular demographic of people, maybe those from 18 to 24 who are young girls? A lot of criticism actually. But the whole idea is I'm standing out there, and anybody who wants to say hello to me, who wants me to help them, I'm ready to help the person. So it's not like I'm going out and particular by everyone. But I think the summary about it all is that everyone is family, and I am privileged to be the head of that family. So I would want to lead by example. I mean, we've had occasions in church where you go to a public space, hey, you're at my church, OFBH, and all of a sudden, just have people supporting you that much. And that's the kind of church which we're trying to bring. So once you see a church member, whether you know him or her, and he or she's in trouble, you must go over and help him much you can.
Well, that's beautiful. It resonates with the book of Acts of the Apostle and how the Apostle were through the act of kindness, and then the church grew through. I think there's this video of yours in church that trended across Nigeria. It was about when you say people who are being told, I think that 10,000 or 100,000 they should come out, and people who's got 100,000 and to support them, they should come out. So we've been seeing innovative stuff like this from you. Do you actually think about it at all before coming to church, or inspiration from everyone that happens while you're on stage?
Well, most of it is inspiration. And but the inspiration is gone, like I wrote something, every dream begins with a desire. Most times I just sit back at home and I ask myself, what can I do to make a difference? It's something I always ask myself, what can I do this week to make a difference? My coming here is one of the things I decided to do to make a difference. So most of these things come because I am mentally alert and mentally disposed for that kind of intervention. So that particular day, I was just preaching, and the scripture spoke about being kind to other people. And the question is, how can we exemplify this level of kindness? It's not just speaking and just hanging in there, but how do we try to internalize and try to practicalize this kindness? And I just told them, okay, if you want to give me 5K, come on. Yeah, meanwhile, we've been doing this in our church. We have what is called the charity fair. In our charity fair, we ask church members to bring stuff from their homes, food stuff, clothing, and electronics, gadgets. We just provide these things, and anyone who is in need, just go pick those things. We've been doing that for the last 6 years. Yes, and we've done quite bigger charity than the 5K, but somehow the 5K became trended because I got calls from every part of the world. I really did. So it just came that moment by what was spiritual.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I did basically I did outstanding testimony from people who participated in that about their progress. Is there a follow-up mechanism to know? Because I saw some persons said we are going to train you in this particular skill. We're going to do this. So that's some sort of follow-up mechanism to see if some persons just want to do stuff for social media, train. Oh, our pastor is a social media person, so obviously everybody's going to see this video. And so I'm out here. Can I just do it for doing sake? So do you have mechanism to follow up on people that say, I'm going to do this for this person and that?
Yeah, actually, thank you for bringing that up. That is another video entirely. Where I was preaching in church, and I would say the Holy Spirit, I would say minister, and you have to call this without job. If you do not have a job, you're a graduate, you don't have a job, come out. And if you're working maybe between level 15 or 10, those are people who are highly placed in as far as in the society is concerned, so they'll come out. Now, we're not asking them to give them a job because we know they wouldn't have a job. But we know as well that you know people who may be willing, you have longer legs, you could speak up on this person's behalf. And we got quite a lot of positive feedback. As a matter of fact, that day, 3 persons got jobs in church that day. And even though the feedback mechanism is not that very strong, but we're trying to see how, this thing just came, it wasn't planned. So we didn't have delayed procedures for feedback, but we're trying to see how we could get some of those people. But there's one I want to share here. He's a medical doctor, he's a dentist actually, and he owns Sparkle Dental Care, not too far from here. And when he met me sometime a few weeks ago, he was really excited about that. He said, Father, the person I employed as a receptionist that they came from church, and she's doing marvelously well in my business, and through her, my business is growing. So that is a very, very good testimony. I mean, his name is Dr. Bright, so I'll mention the name so you know that these things are really happening. And there's some other person also who got a job as a teacher. The proprietress has been praising her quite a lot that she is an amazing addition to her team. But I know that some would have done that much, but I know not all would get that level of recommendation. But I'm hoping that if that were to happen again in the future, we'll know how to go about it. But like I said, sometimes these things are not planned, they just happen on the spot of the moment.
Okay, so I think that's what we call technology for church development. I think it's very important. So we're available for a gig, so that there can be a proper follow-up mechanism for stuff like this when it happens in the church. So I think before we leave church, this is very important. I remember, I think some months back, we saw in the news that your church was shut down because, I don't know the full gist, but because of video content you create that you desecrated the church. So you have to do your mass outside and all of that. So how do you feel at that moment? Like, what happened?
You're every day from about 9 to 6, and this shows your enthusiasm, this shows your passion. And if I recall, you were awarded sometime last year by the state government for recognized as well. So this shows your involvement in what is going on. As a matter of fact, the whole is your back, and then it's lost. What is it? How do you feel? Very fine. So that tells you the way I
will.
You will.
So what did you do?
Well, you see, before you ordain, there are certain things that would have to go on. Number one, you take certain vows. For this conversation, I'm going to limit what sharing to the vows of obedience. And it's a vow you take every Christmas. Take this vow on the day you ordain, so that you hold the church obedience to you and to your lawful successor. That's what happens. So sometimes you don't always have to fight for your rights. Sometimes you don't always have to fight authority because you take your rights. No matter how much you know, the authority knows better than you. And I apologize in church. I did that because I'm the leader. I'm supposed to lead my people. So I wasn't supposed to lead them towards the path where the church was remote. So I took responsibility. Now what happened was, usually once the church is completed in the Catholic cycle, the church is usually dedicated, and dedication simply is being consecrated. So it's not every church you see that is dedicated, but once the church is dedicated to certain things can no longer hold inside the church. Now, we understood this very well. Before our church was dedicated, in our church we have, just like we work with a lot of young people, which I see, or which I give the privilege for, we do something very similar in our church. We have the creative arts, basically the arts, plays and dramas, they illustrate the gospel. We also have Eagles Wings. Eagles Wings are gospel dance. And then we have the instrument of praise. It's a Catholic church I run, but we have a component for contemporary gospel genre of music because it's a youth-friendly church, so we give chance for youths who are maybe who have a flair for contemporary songs. So we have a choir for that as well. So usually we have a concert as well every year, organized by the Creative Arts. So we have this concert and things in church. And the fact that we had that in church was wrong. That was wrong. Yes.
So you're not supposed to have that?
Yeah, we're not supposed to have it in church because the church has been dedicated.
Okay.
Yes, if the church wasn't dedicated, we would have that in church. But since the church was dedicated, we're not supposed to have that in church. It's like having meetings in church as well. Because it's a dedicated church, you're not supposed to have any meeting in church. So meetings should be outside. But since the church was dedicated, we had that program in church, which wasn't secular and that, but it wasn't liturgical. Now, liturgy simply is a mode of Catholic worship. So it wasn't liturgical, but it wasn't secular either. But the watchword wasn't liturgical. So that was wrong on my part. So also I apologize because I led them in the wrong path. And because of that, Bishop, in his wisdom, decided to go down the church for almost 2 months. So for 2 months, we were having our masses outside. And that for me also was a learning process. Like I said, nobody knows it all. And if you think you know it all, then you're deceiving yourself. You should be disposed to learn at all times. And when you look at the circle is a reminder that learning is continuous. It doesn't ever end. So that's the same mindset we all should have. Now what you know, there's someone who knows better than you and must be disposed to learn. So it was a period of just a desert experience for me and indeed for the entire church. And at the end of the period, we have to do what is called penance. Now, penance is, another word for penance I would say is restitution. Let me give you an example. I stole your money, or I still just, as a matter of fact, you have to give me one. I have just one. You have sorry. I'll take one at the end of this. So now I take this, and then I tell you, hey, I'm sorry, I stole your bean, or it's in my pocket. That's wrong. So if I'm truly sorry, I should return it to you.
I stole your bean in my pocket. I still have a need for it.
Yeah, you have a need for it, no doubt. But if you have a need for it, like I beg you, you have 4. Yes, you have 4. You give me one. And if someone is asking for this was a gift. My birthday was 2 days ago, 1st March.
Oh.
So this is what is the birthday gift I got. And now you want this, I'm so sorry I can't give you because it's a gift, but I could get one for you. And maybe give me a month to be able to raise the funds to get something for you. So the point is, for penance and restitution, now if I told you, hey, I stole your money and it's in my pocket, that's wrong. For me to truly tell you I'm sorry, I took what is yours, I have to return it. So that act of returning is what's called restitution, and that is what is called penance. So at the end of the period, as a whole church, we did the 3-day penance, and then the bishop came to bless the church again, and voila, here we are.
Okay, wonderful. So we've learned a lot. Penance, for those of you that don't know it. So it's a good time to learn. Alright, so let's look at your work of charity. Yeah, I know that you are deep into charity. So tell us about your organization and what you do in Spirit.
Well, Inspiro is the foundation. Basically, we just reach to the less privileged. I tell myself I'm the hand of Jesus Christ. I'm the thought of Jesus Christ and the feet of Jesus Christ. So what drives us is going to these places where Jesus is not there at the moment physically. So we just reach out to the less privileged. We support with school fees. I can't count the number of children with supported fees, over 150 something, 56 or thereabouts. I want to speak about the households we visited to distribute relief materials and food items and food stuff. Or those who also giving money or the surgeries we've supported or paid a lot of things. And of course, you mentioned this particular very sad incident. You know, when we visited Isugatu, I think Isugatu community, we're informed about this elderly woman who she's a widow and her children were abandoned her. You know, this mindset where you begin to call your rich. A lot of us are guilty of this, and I would also say, this one was abandoned. So on our first visit, we just took food stuff to her, and the site was very beautiful. I think she was close to maybe 80, right? And in fact, I couldn't sleep that night because I couldn't imagine my mother in such a situation. She had to cook for herself, she had to wash her clothes, and she was weak, she was frail. And I just told my engineer to do something about this woman. So we visited her again, got food stuff, but that still wasn't enough. Because we noticed that when we bring these things to her, I think some neighbors will come steal some of these items, which was really, really bad. And what she said wasn't very decent enough. So we just took it upon ourselves to do a complete renovation of the house. We got pots, kettles, mattress, blanket, carpets. We just changed the entire house for the woman. And then paid someone to be caring for her. So every month we were paying someone to cook for her, to clean her, and to care for her. And then 3 months when we did that, the woman passed on. And it was quite devastating for me because over the few months we got to know her, we had built a bond around her. There were a lot of videos, some I haven't really posted as well, but we built the bond around her, and unfortunately I wasn't there when she died. I was out, so they called me, and of course we're taking the responsibility to care for her until she dies. So we had to rally around, we had to make police reports, and then seek authorization from Commissioner of Police to bury her. We paid, of course, no burial, we had to do all of that for her.
So you people were able to get a family members to attend the burial?
No, we're just a community people. That's why we had to get police reports. The police, we have the police backup.
That's a good question. So I think I should ask you a question in this direction. You know, virtually every week we see in Nigerian social media space people posting pictures, posting sometimes genuinely some persons may think, this condition is very critical, this person is obviously going to die. So how do we approach charity when we see that our mind, our thoughts is like, it's really the end of this person's life, this money is going to be wasted. So how do we approach charity when you obviously know what the outcome will be?
Well, speaking about that, if I want to say, for me, I feel like being a blessing to someone for one day is enough. And if we were to speak in the words of Mother Teresa, don't be keen about saving everyone in the world. Just do what you can do. So if I could just feed you for one day, that's enough. Let me share an example. There's a lady, I don't even know her name, where she reached out to me, and she gets education. And I didn't want to assist her because I didn't know her. And she kept calling and calling, texting and texting. At some point, out of frustration, we had to pay her bills. And guess what? Between the 1st of March till today, she has called me more than 20 times. She has sent me more than 9 text messages asking for the same help. But one of the things I try to do, if I help you once, I will not want to help you again. I want to help some other person. Because there are a lot of people who need this help. But there are some situations that are really bad that we will have to adopt the case. Like last 2 weeks precisely, we were able to support someone at the hospital with over 300,000 for bills, but that's still not giving enough. But the fact still remains that just do what you can, no matter how little it is. So one of the things that drives me is the understanding that I want to put smiles on the faces of people, even if it's for one day.
You can just do what you can, no matter how little it is, even if it's for one day. So before I give our audience a opportunity to ask you questions, so I'll ask you this particular question. You know, as a Reverend Father, you're not allowed to marry. So you always sit down sometimes and have the thought of marrying when you see beautiful, beautiful young women in church.
Okay, well.
And how do you deal with the feelings?
Okay, first of all, let me say this. We're humans. We're all humans. So it's the same blood flowing in that flows in us. So, but there's a component of sacrifice. That's what changes everything. What I am willing to sacrifice as a priest is not what you're willing to sacrifice. So once that component is introduced, the narrative is changed. So we are all human. So of course, our life is beautiful, which is fine. There's no doubt about it. God created all things beautiful, but at the same time, I know that she's forbidden. I know that that's a no-go area. I know that there's a hedge around her. And part of this comes from our training. You might not know this, but to be a priest, you spend not less than 10 years in training. So for this period, you're trained through philosophy, theology, sociology, psychology, even computer science, from the regular guy on the streets. A lot of training. Of course, I know that some of our priests may fall. That's the human component of us, but over and above that, we have a lot of us, maybe even much more, who are raising the banner in the power. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. We have Reverend Father Bekomson. You're free to ask him a question. Yeah? So, who's going first? And a question for him? It's open floor. This program is designed so you can ask people, leaders, thought leaders, professionals questions. And we're going to bring different professionals month in, month out so that you can ask as many questions as possible. You can find direction for your path. So, who's going first? Let's get some questions. Let's bombard for that question. Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. I was once told that if I want to give out to charity, I should give from a place of plenty. But let's take a situation where I do not have plenty, but I need someone who is urgently in need of assistance. What do I do in that situation? Do I follow the philosophy I was taught, or do I ignore that and do?
That's a very interesting question. That philosophy is wrong. I'm not going to paint it. It's completely wrong. How much do you have? Maybe if I check your bank account, you might have maybe 110K. Hopefully, all right. And now you see that someone has a need. It's simple. Just give what you have. Don't wait until you have so much, because you will never have so much. When I mean you will never have so much, you never have much. So if you have to, the Bible gives us a standard. It says when you have to give one. Let me also share something. One of the things I was preaching in the church about giving, I teach my people a lot about giving. I told them, even if you have 1 tuber of yam, cut it. That's what I said. Cut that tuber of yam and give somebody more. So don't wait until you have so much. How much do you have on you right now? Nothing. Okay, I'm going to give you something before I leave, because you don't have it.
Okay, good. You see, asking questions brings money. So if you need something, ask more questions. Okay, so who's going to ask the next question? Okay, sure.
Alright, so the name of your foundation,
Inspire.
Okay. So
From
what
Inspire. Yes.
My question is, why did you choose that, and what inspired you, and how did you?
Well, somebody once told me that I inspire him. A lot of people just say, oh, why you inspire me? And I was discussing with my friend who does most of my graphic designs, and he just come up with the idea, inspire for inspire. So that's how it came up. So I'm not, I'm inspired, but the whole idea about inspired wasn't mine. Yeah, you'll be surprised I'm saying it here, but that's the truth. So Joseph, actually, that's his name, Duara. He actually inspired the name Inspired.
Because you inspired him.
Yes, that's right. And you're welcome to join us. I mean, it's I don't know how you work here, but we look for volunteers. You'll never know how far you will go and how well you can give that to other people. So if you're interested in joining the spirit, you could drop your contacts with Oyo, and then you when you feel, and then we'll reach you.
So I think we put out the link when we're putting out this video to the public. So if you want to join, you want to volunteer, you don't need to be in Calabar, you can volunteer virtually. When you're in Calabar, you can volunteer physically with the spirit. So more questions? Come on, guys.
Can I ask another one?
Sure.
So, how's the journey been so far, being the priest and the person that also led the foundation? How's the journey been so far?
Well, first of all, let me be very honest. Being a priest is not an easy job. It's not an easy task. And to be very honest, there are days where I question myself. I'm like, God, did you lead me the right path? I mean, these things will happen. But at the same time, it's called spiritual aridity, which could be likened to the desert. The desert is an arid land. So we all have those moments. Even you on the computer, there's certain times you just don't want to see the computer and you just tired of the whole computer and the whole what is the coding and all of that. It happens, but after a while it comes back, like the relation returns. Today you're up, tomorrow you're down. So I've had those moments as well. But at the same time, one of the things that keeps me up or gets me ticking is the fact that we're able to be a blessing to some other person. No matter how difficult it is, being a blessing to some other person. And I thank God for the opportunity to be a priest, and I am humbled by it because it has opened doors, massive doors for me, and you get to see big people my age. I remember my father, blessed in fact, my parents used to call me father. So when my dad called me father, I say, yes, my son, But that's the other joyful part of the whole story. But being a priest and being out there blessing people, being a blessing to other people, it's just an amazing feeling. And try it sometime. Give someone something and know how you feel, especially when the person is honest and says, thank you very much. So I might sound selfish here, but a lot of times all I want to do is thank you. Nothing else.
So, on behalf of them, I will say thank you.
In advance, right? That doesn't mean you get what you got,
No, I will get from it.
Let's make a business move. Let's make a business move.
Okay, so I would like to know what inspired you to start the foundation. Could it be because some people told you inspired them, or you had another drive?
Well, actually, the foundation began about 6 years ago. And like I would always say, there's something we do in our church. We do a lot of giveaways. In fact, 2 Sundays ago, we had giveaways as well. We gave free stuff, we gave sanitary keys, kettle, buckets, menstrual pads. We do that a whole lot. It's something we've been doing for the last 6 years. But we've grown up to the extent where we needed to be more organized and formalized and registered. We're actually in the process of being registered in the CAC. But so we would say being registered, we could just be about a year old. But prior to a year old, we've always been doing this. So it's something you do. It's like, you know how to cook. What's your best meal? What's your best food? You look like Afam now. Okay, so the point is, We love cooking our fun, and when you cook, what do they say? Oh, your fun is nice, you cook so well. Who cook this food? It's me. And they say, okay, since I cook very well, it might be time to start up a restaurant. That's just what happened to me. And we've reached out to a lot of people. We have quite a number of people who are willing to support, who are willing to sponsor. I don't want to mention how much we spent last year. It could be very scandalous in charity. But it's something we're willing to do and we'll continue doing as much as God gives us the grace and the capacity.
Okay, so
Okay, so I want to ask if Inspiro has a website.
Well, we're actually building one now. I don't know how far they've gone. But I spoke to him about something which we're going to speak about. So we could see how we could partner together. And then basically I'll give visibility. Yeah, so before I forget, I know this is anybody or this part of you, we're talking about me. Like I told you a few days ago, whatever events, whatever programs you have, just let me have them.
okay.
Yeah, I'll be doing my best to give visibility to what is there. I have quite a large followership on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter as well. So add me to one of your visibility.
Thank you.
It's free of charge.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We're in the process of building a website. I don't know how far we've gone, but I think Oyo would help as well.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. I really enjoyed your talk on preschool, most especially on giving. But I found a gray area when you discussed how you are less likely to give people that are not from the church.
No, I never said that.
When you were talking about the story of a lady reaching out and the rest, that you never knew something there about along that trip.
Okay.
So I was feeling like coming to ask you, is there a reason, is a philosophy behind that where you are less likely to help people?
Okay, let me, sorry to cut you. Let me just cut you. I wish I had the scissors. Okay, I think you misunderstood what I said. Charity begins at home but doesn't end at home. As a matter of fact, our charity outreach spans beyond our church, and we do more outreach outside the church than within the church. The point is, if we've given, like last year, we were able to reach about 500 families, and those 500 families, none was included in my church members. So charity is not limited to my church. So yes, but the other thing which I must also clear is, I think you said something. Yeah, the charity began in church, but it's not limited to the church. So once there's a sincere need, of course, over time, I don't give money, we don't give money, because people tell a lie. My church is in the hospital, so that's the easiest place to go to beg for money. So if you come to me and you're asking for help, I'll just send my secretary, follow this person to verify. In fact, 2 weeks ago, a young man came to me and, oh, Father, my wife, CS, she's built for cesarean section, and the pay was running to some thousands. Could you give me some money? I said, fine, I am willing to help you. Whether you're lying or not, I don't care, but we'll help you. But first, let's go and confirm it's true. And as they were going with my secretary, the young man disappeared. Yeah, and then the other thing we do with medications as well, if you need medications, we don't give you money. We have some level of partnership with the pharmacy. Just go there, whatever you need, we're going to pay directly to them. And not people who come to us disappear. Because they want money.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for that clarification.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the entire session. So, I'm a businesswoman. I do not do charity yet.
Yes, that means
we don't have a part of charity in ourselves, but yet for the time being. So, I want to know how to get, because from what you mentioned a lot of partnership, and sponsorship. So give me an advice as a businesswoman, how do you think I can get partnership as well as sponsorship for business?
Well, the first thing is, what kind of business do you do? Of course, there are people who will key into your business. You know, this new word, you have a niche. That's is it Gen Z word? So a lot of people who would partner with you are people who share your niche with. So what business do you do? The business is becoming those who will be willing to support you. Number one. Number two, it will be difficult to have that level of partnership with people because you are in the business. Basically, every business is open to exchange money, buying and selling. So it's difficult unless you're asking people, please come and support my business by buying or come and invest in my business. You need to make that very clear. Are you asking people to invest in the business? Are you asking people to buy whatever it is you're selling? And for that business to thrive as well, you need to understand that every business is meant to give value. So what value are you giving? Because money goes after value. So if, for instance, you see what we're doing now, we're giving a lot of value, and one of the things that will help is much publicity. But a lot of parents get to know that, oh, young people from maybe the ages of 6, 7, or maybe 9 can come just gain basic computer knowledge. Trust me, you won't be able to contain this space because you're giving them value. How are you doing that? Number one, you're taking them out of the house to somewhere where they're learning. At this that way, they won't be disturbing their parents anymore. So you're the one taking the hits. That's what a lot of parents do. But they're paying for it. So they're giving them value for their time as well. And then they're coming back home, oh, mommy, I learned something new today. So that's one of the ways to look at it. But if you're looking at, if yours is a charity, and then you're perhaps registered with your CAC, it becomes a whole lot easier for you to get funders and people who will buy the level of charity. There are a lot of organizations. I remember last year we got some level of support from Zenith Bank and a few other organizations as well. But it's something we can speak extensively outside here.
Okay, and I also know that you carry, I think during the Miller Award, immediately they introduced you. One of the House Assembly member, Eli Bison, said that there's no Sunday you don't talk about 1,000 naira support for charity.
Yeah, we
so
do that a lot.
You, as a business person, you need to carry your message everywhere you go. You need to talk about it. You need to identify people on the spot that you think have the kind of money to invest into what you do. I know that we find ourselves in a climate that is not so much about investment society. People who are way ahead of us didn't grow seeing people investing, mostly into business. So, but we part of the work we're doing is to see how to change the culture of where we find ourselves into a private driven economy, not just a civil servant economy. So identify that money, push your business out of the way, give them different options, maybe equity and whatsoever. They might be interested in what you're doing. Yeah. And then look out for grants. Look out for grants as much as possible online and see how to apply. Look out for different opportunities online and see how to apply. Like I wrote on social media, you have to build your business in your small city. Then you have to go out to the big cities for once for the money. Where the money is, you have to ensure that you go there and bring the money to your city if you want to build a viable business.
Yeah, I might also add, this might be more specific, like a Meta, for instance, they have a component that helps build capacity for startups and medium scale businesses. Usually what happens, you have to go for training first. At the end of the training, you will be given grants. It's ongoing now. You know Meta?
Professor building.
In the 4th floor. You can go there and make inquiries. I could also give you a link of someone who will be able to help you as well. We also have BOI, Bank of Industry. They are also into loans. They give you loans at a payment rate of 2 or 3%, which is completely different from what the regular bank will be giving you. The banks will be giving about 10 or 11% interest rates now. 36, okay, I'm not too sure. crazy.
So,
So BOI, Bank of Industry, would help. And then we also have a Bank of Agriculture as well. Those are government agencies that would be very interested in startups and support. So give it a try. One of those would really help you.
do we still have more questions, or we should say any more questions?
Okay, let me ask a question. Thank you, Father, for coming, and let me use this opportunity to thank you for all you've been doing for the body of Christ. You are an amazing person, and I'm not just saying this because you're here. Listen to your messages, even from my brothers, who are your brothers as well, are also priests as well. So I want to ask this question. You know, we've had issues when we talk about the tithing is wrong and where fair food is wrong. So I've been opportune to work in the church. You know, sometimes these people say these things because they don't know. The church cannot run without money. No money to run the church. Sometimes people get fed up, people get angry that, like in my denomination, people make tithe so important and make all altar calls and first fruits important. So what do you think about this? Is it proper to tithe? Is it proper? Is it first fruit important?
Well, some of these things are biblical, and I will tread very carefully and cautiously. But of course, I know what I stand for. I know my stand as well, and I know what my church will teach. Now, like here in the Diocese of Calabar, our Archbishop has approved the collection of tithes, but it's not a law. I mean, for those who want to pay their tithes, you're free to. For those who do not want to pay their tithe, there's no one insisting that you must pay. I know that there's some churches where the tithing is a must, and I also know there are some churches that hold on to the first fruits thing. It's not Catholic for us. I don't even know what the first fruit thing is about. But if we want to situate it within the context of the scripture and the context of the tithing, we read the book of Malachi where the concept was first spoken of. Of course, the book of Genesis tells us that Abraham paid the tithe to Melchizedek, the high priest. But the tithe is 10% of what you earn. But the caveat there is, bring your tithe to my house, so there will always be food. The idea is still charity, because you're supposed to go to the church at all times to get food, even when you're hungry. So God is asking, bring this thing to me, so there will always be food in my house. So when the poor man comes, there will always be food for them. Number one. Number two, when you look at the 12 tribes, one of the tribes was forbidden from working, the tribe of Levi, because their primary responsibility was to serve in the temple. While other people would go farming, go fishing, horticulturing, and all of that, they were supposed to be in the temple. So the tithe was supposed to help sustain the priest and the priest family. So that's what it is all about. But if you want to pay your tithes, which is a good thing to do scripturally, that's right. But if you think you don't want to pay your tithes, it depends on what, of course, with different churches, I don't know what they are preaching, but I'm not here to condemn or criticize what the pastor is saying.
Okay, another question, sorry. So, there's what I believe, in the game of football, if you must play in the game, you must stick to the rules of the game. So what about people who don't stick to these rules? Because every church, like you say, every church has their belief. So, people who don't do this, who don't work by these rules, what happens to them?
Well, it depends on the laws the church is bringing. Like I said, in our church, the bishop says within the Calabar Archdiocese territory, tithe is approved. For those who want to pay, of course, there's a blessing for you paying your tithe. That doesn't mean those who do not pay will not be blessed. But if, for instance, you're blessed because of your tithes, that means you receive the blessing for paying your tithes. But at the same time, those who haven't paid their tithe will still be blessed in some other way. That's the easiest way to explain that.
Okay, sir. Again,
That's all right.
is it good to pay tithe for the fact
You're
that
asking for my
the food?
personal opinion.
Yes, is it good to pay tithe for the fact that the Bible says that so that there may be food in the storehouse?
Yeah, it's good to pay tithes. It is. And I encourage people, I teach people to pay tithes as well. But the difference there is, what is the tithes money used for?
In the church.
Yeah, I can boldly say, like one of the things we do in our church, part of the charity which we carry out comes from the heart. Little is about it.
Okay. I see one of another thing. You know, in the parsonage, sometimes people don't know what. For me, I will always say that the pastors or the priests are always leading. Like you made mention about people always coming for help. People just say things because you don't know what's in the back end. They say a lot of things about tithe. Like I said, I work in the church. I know what happens in the back end. I know people who come in, even in the church, to ask for help. So I don't think, okay, like I go with you. There are blessings that comes with obeying God's paying.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think the real caveat about the tithing is accountability for the resources collected.
Okay, that's a very good thing. I also know very well that it's not something very common here, the part of accountability. But I know as well some churches, not here, where every money that comes in is accounted for.
You say not here, that's Nigeria.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's understand.
I didn't want to sound, yes, outside the country.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you think that priests, pastors, GOs in Nigeria have to be accountable to their members and to the public, that they need to declare what comes in?
In fact, let me share my own experience. Yes, it should. It's very good. Usually in my church, I try to present the accounts every month, but it's still the same church that I say, oh Father, no, we don't want the account. But we made that attempt. But what we do at the church council meeting, which holds every quarter, a detailed account, income and expenditure is presented, and everyone is given a chance to question or query. Once or twice they'll say, hey Father, this expenditure is too much, and they call my attention to it. I say, I'm sorry, we have to do it for this purpose, but subsequently we have to look for a way to sort it.
Okay, so I think we've really gone a long way in this interview today with Reverend Father Emmanuel Bekomson. It was an amazing time talking to you. We've taken your experience of 17 years and we've dissected and just 10 minutes. And it's pretty nice, and I believe this content will inspire a lot of young persons out there to think, build mostly in the area of charity and the work to do. So look out for more content from us. We are going to bring a lot of gurus your way that will share their experiences. We really want to transfer knowledge to people. So thank you, Father.
Thank you very
It
much.
was really a nice time.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can call it today, right? Officially.
Official.
Officially, we can